Alright people, I've had my baby whalefish for about 4 months now, and I thought it's about time we do an update. Now, I'll keep it real people, this baby whalefish is probably one of the most difficult fish I have ever kept. It's actually the reason why I haven't made an update. I did get a comment recently, someone asking about how's the whalefish going, and I honestly didn't know how to answer people. But yeah, we'll get into all of that, so let's just get started. Now, I got my baby whalefish from Sims Tropical, which is an online fish store. I actually made a whole video where I unboxed the fish and that. I'll put it up here somewhere if you want to watch it. But yeah, the baby whalefish was part of that shipment, and when I first got it, people, I was so excited because this fish does genuinely look like a baby whale. Well, not really a baby whale, but if you look at its face, there is something whale-like about it. Now, I didn't realize this when I ordered the whalefish, but it's actually part of the same species as the elephant nose fish, and you can kind of see that in the shape of their bodies. And yeah, if I knew that, I probably would have thought twice about getting this whalefish because, yeah, it didn't really go that well with the elephant nose. That was before I started my channel though, but yeah, I was really struggling to get that elephant nose fish to eat. And this is also a problem I got into with this one. But yeah, before we get into the feeding, let me tell you a little bit about this fish. Now, one thing I need to mention is majority of the footage that you are going to see is from the first week of having this whalefish. I'll talk about why in a minute, but first let me address the wounds on the baby whalefish's body, because yeah, it doesn't really look that good. And don't worry people, that is not from my tank. No one attacked the baby whalefish. I did receive it like that. It turns out the baby whalefish was in a tank with more of its own species, and they can be aggressive towards each other. So unfortunately my one did get beat up a little bit, and that's where all the scars on its body came from. However, now it's completely fine people. The whalefish has completely healed. But the reason why I'm showing you the footage of the whalefish when I first got it is because now that it's comfortable, it pretty much chills in the same spot all day. You see, it picked out a nice little corner, which I'm assuming makes it feel safe and comfortable. Once the lights go off, that's when it starts exploring and that. But yeah, even right now I can see it, it's literally chilling in that corner. So the only footage I can really get is of it chilling in the corner. It was the most active when I first got it. And yeah, I guess that's one thing I should mention as well people. Yeah, when you first get this fish, they will move about everywhere and they'll be very comfortable and explore their environment. However, if you do have a fairly stocked tank like I do, there's a chance they might just pick a corner, chill there for most of the day, and then they do their thing at night. And people, I've tried everything to get this fish a bit more active. I tried to feed it during the day and that, but it just doesn't go for anything. So yeah, this is why you're going to see loads and loads of footage of the first few days, and of course all of that footage has the scars on the whalefish's body. However, right now, as I'm looking at it, its body is completely clear, it is fine. It's just I can't get any real good footage. Now, the actual name of this fish, and oh, this is going to be so difficult to pronounce. It's Brionomyrus brachyisteus, I think that's how you pronounce it, or the short fin African electric fish, which means they do set off little electrical pulses that helps them see and find their food and all of that, which is very similar to the ghost knife fish or the very famous electric eel. Now, of course, the appearance with this fish is also quite special because it does actually look like a whale. And yeah, like I mentioned, I've had it for about 4 months now, and in regards of the water parameters and everything, it does seem to be fine. Also, in regards of the tank setup, they are nocturnal creatures, so it prefers the shade. But yeah, let's talk about the feeding now, and this is something that I've been struggling with from the start because yeah, it just didn't go for anything. That I tried the dry food and it just didn't go for the dry food at all. When I was feeding Lily the prawns and the shrimps, you know, I was putting some towards the whalefish, but it didn't go for it. It didn't go for the bloodworms. Like people, I honestly didn't know what to do. So I decided to go to Wholesale Tropicals. Even though I didn't get the whalefish from there, I was hoping they might be able to help me. And they did. It turns out the whalefish has a very small mouth, meaning the best thing I could try out were tubifex worms, which are much smaller and should be easier for the baby whalefish to eat. So of course I bought a couple packets of tubifex worms. Tubifex worms are quite cool because you can just put them in like a takeaway container, put some tap water in it and leave it in the fridge fridge and they will be fine for a week or two. So you don't need to use all the tubifex worms at once. Now at first I was putting the tubifex worms in during feeding time, and I realized that the fish were eating most of the tubifex worms and the whalefish didn't really want to come out, which showed me that the whalefish is quite nervous, and that kind of makes feeding a problem because my 200 litre of course was well stocked, so he was just getting out competed on a daily basis. So of course I had to switch up the feeding technique, and what I decided to do in the end is feed them at night. Now it worked out great for me because the lights in my fish tank turn off around 9 o'clock and I'm usually awake till like 3 in the morning. So I usually put the tubifex worms in around 1 AM in the morning. You know, all the fish are pretty much asleep, and I'm pretty sure the whalefish does get to eat quite a few tubifex worms. And the only reason I'm saying that is because it's been 4 months and it's still alive. What I do is I literally put in the tubifex worms while my room is pitch black, and I just walk out the room for an hour. But yeah, it does seem to be working. Now for anyone who does want to keep a whalefish, this is what I've learned so far. They are probably much better off in a species only tank, or at least a tank that is fairly empty and doesn't have fish that will outcompete it for food. And also they do prefer a dark environment, so make sure you have a light that can kind of dim, or have loads and loads of hiding spaces where the fish can hide. Now I'll keep it real, I may need to think about returning this fish. It's not the fact that it always hides, I actually don't mind that, but the thing that's concerning me is it does seem to have lost a little bit of weight. So although it's still alive and it must be eating, it's not eating anywhere near the amount that it did when, you know, Sims Tropical had it, because yeah, it's definitely gone a little bit skinnier. So yeah, I know it took a little while for me to do this update, but it's literally because of this. I haven't actually figured out what to do with this fish. I'm kind of just putting in the tubifex worms at night and hoping for the best, which is, once again, this is one of the most difficult fish I have kept by far. Now before we carry on, if this video is helping you out, then let me know by leaving a like or a comment, and if you want to see more videos like this every single week, then please remember to subscribe, it really helps me out. But yeah, let me just quickly recap the little things that I did learn with this fish. One, they do enjoy a lot of hiding spaces, so make sure you have loads of those. Also make sure you have a dimming light because they definitely don't like the bright light. And in regards of food, your best chances would be tubifex worms, and I'm guessing if you have pest snails in your tank, that might help it as well. Another thing I learned from this experience is the importance of research. You see, the baby whalefish was definitely an impulse buy again. I just saw it on Sims Tropical's website and I thought, oh, I really need it for my tank, but I didn't do any research at all. I mean, if I'd done some research at least, I probably would have seen that there isn't much information out there, which usually means it's a fairly difficult fish to look after. Or I would have found out that they are very similar to the elephant nose fish, which is a fish I already had experience with and also struggled with. Just remember, research is important, man. Now if I do figure out how to actually feed this fish properly, or if I decide to put him in a different tank or donate him to a fish store, then I will update you guys, so do keep an eye out for that video. But yeah, until then, let's just see what happens with this baby whale fish. And yeah, if you want to see the day I received this fish, then click right here.